means here what? End means Antarctica, right? Journey to the end of the earth. And this journey was undertaken by the author Tishani Doshi, right? And it was under the program Students on Ice. And this program was started by a Canadian, Geoff Green. Earlier, he had taken celebrities, rich people, retired people along with him, with the thought that these people would give back to the society also. They would try to make some changes in the society by giving, by discussing these changes with the people, so that they would be more concerned about the nature. But such a thing did not happen. So that is why he changed his idea. And this time, as the lesson is written, this time he decided to take the students, high school students, along with him, because students, they are at this age that they would absorb the things, they would learn the things, and slowly when they would reach to a proper age also, they would have the power also, they would implement and apply those things in the nature also. They will ask the people also to do good things for the nature in order to take care. Fine. So this we have discussed yesterday. One more very important thing that I told you yesterday was that in Antarctica there was a very simple ecosystem is there, right? And see, there the different animals are there. I told you that the organisms over there are ranging from the microscopic animals, organisms very small, and then raising to very large, like the blue whales, right? So this means that the desired, the needs of all these organisms and animals is, you know, fulfilled over here, and the proper food chain is followed here. And here the most important thing that is responsible for the food chain of all these organisms of this place is phytoplanktons, right? Phytoplankton. And phytoplankton, as I told you, it is a microscopic thing, tiny plants and animals. These are phytoplankton. This is a very important part of the lesson, so that is why I'm telling you once again. I explained you yesterday, I'm giving you telling you once again. So phytoplankton is are the tiny plants and animals, and they are responsible for the whole food chain of this place, right? That is Antarctica. They are responsible for the complete food chain of this place, and these are the single celled plants. So you must remember about these phytoplanktons also. What are the characteristics? They are the single celled plants. Bio students would understand much better single celled, and though you all have studied till 9th 10th bio, so I believe that everybody would be able to understand. So these are the single celled plants, and they use sun's energy to convert the light energy that they are receiving from the sun, and that is converted into what? That is converted into chemical energy, right? And then these phytoplanktons, they are eaten by the other organisms, and then this food chain is there developed. Fine. So now the important thing is that scientists warn that a further depletion in the ozone layer, as I told you earlier also, like here and everywhere also, we are bothered about the ozone layer. The ozone layer is also depleting. So like if this will continue, obviously, then what will happen? It will affect the activities of the phytoplanktons also, right? And which in turn will affect the lives of all the marine animals. Marine animals, all the animals living in the sea, right? So now if phytoplanktons will be no more, if ozone layer will be depleted and the things and the nature will be affected, then phytoplanktons will also not be there, and they are responsible for the food for the marine animals, and automatically the marine animals will not be there. And then what will happen? And the birds of the region, and the global warmers carbon cycle. Global means universal, complete cycle, because see, the animals at this place Antarctica, they will not be there, their lives will be in danger, and slowly what will happen? That will affect the animals and the organisms of the whole universe, right? So the complete universal carbon this cycle will or a carbon cycle, that will be affected. And in the parable, as I told you, I was completing yesterday, so that is why I completed very quickly. So that is why I want to give you the description once again. In the parable, as I told you yesterday, parable means a short story with some beautiful message, right? So in this parable of a phytoplanktons, there is a great metaphor for existence. Metaphor, I have told you many a times, when there is a comparison between the two things, right? So like in the story of phytoplanktons, there is a great metaphor for existence. It means like one thing is responsible for the survival of the other thing, right? And what is the message? Take care of these small things and the big things will fall into place. This is a very, very important line in this lesson. I told you earlier also. So now the thing is that if in the nature, if we are going to take care of the minute organisms as like these phytoplanktons, then they are responsible for the food of the very large animals also, marine animals like blue whales. The cycle is followed, as I told you yesterday and I have told you today also. So in this manner, it is very important to take care of the small things so that the big things will also fall into their places. Means if in the nature, if we'll not cut a single tree, then deforestation will not be there, then the floods will not be there, and our nature will be safe, right? So now walk on the ocean. Now the author has come to the end of this lesson, and she says like till now she did not mention any of the problem that was faced. Obviously it was a tiresome journey, as I told you. They had to travel through three means of transportation: car, aeroplane, and by the ship, that is academic Shokelski, right? So like obviously in such a long journey they must have faced some of the other problem. So now she is giving that description. Walk on the ocean. Now how they walked, how they traveled on the ocean, that is the here. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. First, what is the meaning of epiphanies? Epiphanies means memorable memories. Memorable memories, and the origin of this word is taken from the Christian mythology. According to Christian mythology, it is believed that on 6th of January every year they commemorate, they celebrate this day, and they believe that on this day baby Jesus returns to Mother Mary, right? Jesus, his parents, you know the names, Mother Mary, and father's name is Joseph, right? So this day, Epiphany, actually, once again, I am telling you for better understanding, this day is actually celebrated by the Christians, and it is on 6th of January. And it is believed that on this day, baby Jesus has taken rebirth, and baby Jesus has returned to Mother Mary. So that is why it is considered to be a memorable day, right? Memorable day full of beautiful memories. So here the author says that my Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, means it is full of beautiful and wonderful, fantastic memories that can never be forgotten. But the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. But the best occurred. Now see, obviously like their journey, the complete journey was full of memories. It was a beautiful journey. But some incidents were, you know, fantastic, that made the mark in his mind also, and that remained in his heart also forever. And that happened where? Just short of the Antarctic Circle, just near to the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. Shokelski, as you all know, I have told you, it is the name of the ship. Academic Shokelski had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. Now see, like everything, if everything is happening like in a very good manner, smooth manner, no problems we are facing, then that is also a boring journey, boring life also. Something adventurous must also happen, so that we will learn how to fight with such things also. We'll become a fighter also, will become a warrior, fine, very strong person. So here also when they were traveling, their ship that managed to wedge. Now wedge has different meaning, but here it means, wedge means it fixed. It was fixed between peninsula and Tadpole Island. As they were moving, their ship was fixed between Tadpole Island and peninsula. And then what happened? It was preventing us from going any further. And now see, it became very difficult for them to move further, to complete their journey. As you have studied the poem, The Rime of the Ancient Mariner, if you have studied this poem by S.T. Coleridge, there, what is the scene? Their, ship was also, fixed at one particular place. They were not able to move. That could be because of the curse also. But here also the same thing, that here their ship was fixed between the two things, that is peninsula and the Tadpole Island. And now the captain decided that we were going to turn around and head back north. Now, obviously, like for example, as we have studied in class 11th also, we are not afraid to die. There is the Captain Gordon Cook. And Captain Gordon Cook, he was taking good decisions for the betterment, for saving the life of all the members of the ship. So here also, captain is in charge, captain is in charge of all the lives of all the people over here, right? So captain, he took the decision that we were going to turn around. Like as they were, the ship was fixed between the two things. So he decided that they should turn back, turn around and head back towards the north. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. Now you have to imagine what I'm going to tell you, because literature is something that is an imagination also. Though this is the reality, the author is sharing her own experience, but somehow you have to imagine the situation. Now the situation is like as their ship is moving, so below the ship there is the thick layer of ice, fine, and below that thick layer of ice there is the water. Now when we are supposed to move or lay our feet on the ship, what is to be done? There is a wooden plank is there, that is joining, or that is kept on the shore and on the ship. That is conjunction part, you can say. That is the part that is joining the two things. Are you able to understand what I am telling you? A wooden plank is kept on the shore, and it is kept on the ship also, so that people, those who are supposed to sit on the ship, they can move, they can reach by moving on the plank, and they'll be able to reach to this ship. So in the same manner, what happened, as the captain decided to turn around to move to back towards the north, then what happened? They were about to do, but we were all instructed to climb down. But later on, he took another decision. He asked them to climb down, to move out of the ship. And that is like, how can this be possible? Down the gangplank. Gangplank is that same wooden plank. Are you able to understand what I'm telling you? So gangplank is the wooden plank that is a support from which the people, they will be able to move outside the ship. And then the captain, he asked them to walk on the ocean. So now you have to imagine what is the situation. As I told you, the ocean is there, and like the water is there underneath, and above the water there is the thick layer of ice. So this means what? That they have to walk on the ocean, they have to walk on the ice. Is this clear? So walking on the ocean, this title is given to this passage, means like walking on the ocean is not possible. Fine. Walking on the water is not possible. It is something that is in imagination. It's not possible in a reality. Walking on the ocean means walking on the surface of the ice. And so, okay, so there we were, all 52 of us, kitted out in Gore-Tex and glares. Now see, the total number of people over there were 52. Means like the author, Tishani Doshi, then the person who decided for this journey, Canadian Geoff Green, and along with these two people, there were 50 students. So total number of people were 52. And kitted out in Gore-Tex. Gore-Tex are the boots. Fine. They are the boots that are suitable to walk on the surface of the ice. So they are called as the ice boots also. So all these people, they were, they wore such uniforms, such things that would be suitable to complete their journey in Antarctica on the surface of ice. So they were all wearing ice boots and glares. Glares means the ice shades, or you can say the goggles also. Fine. As you have to imagine, for example, the sun rays, if they are there, so they'll be striking the ice, and that is going to affect that, the reflection will be there towards the ice. So that is going to hamper, that is going to cause some problem to the eyes also. So that is why, to save their eyes, they have taken these glares also. Now, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. And walking on a stark whiteness. Stark means absolute whiteness, complete whiteness. Now you have to imagine, like, for example, as they are walking on the surface of this ocean, the ice is there, ice below their feet, ice all around them, on the mountains, on the glaciers were there, the icebergs were there, everywhere they were surrounded by the ice. So that is why it says that there is the stark. Stark means absolute, complete whiteness was there. And so whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Underneath our feet was a meter thick ice pack, as I've told you. Like as some of you may apply the face pack. Pack is there, a thick layer that is applied. So in the same manner, under their feet, what was there? There was a meter thick ice pack was there, and they were walking on the surface of the ice. And below that ice pack, what was there? Underneath that, 180 meters of living, breathing salt water, as I've already told you, given you the explanation. So under their feet, there was the thick layer of ice, and below the thick layer of ice, there was the water. And as I told you earlier also, like in the water, what was there? Different organism ranging from the microscopic to the very large organisms like blue whales, right? And that too in the salt water. Now in the periphery, crab eater seals were stretching and sunning themselves on ice floes, much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. Now periphery means like on the outskirts, on the edges. Periphery, on the outskirts, on the edges. So now see, on in the periphery means like the ocean is there, right? And on the ocean there is a thick layer of the ice is there, and like by the sides of that ocean, by the edges, by the corners or the outskirts of the ocean, what was there? The crab eater seals. Seals, you all know, these are the marine animals. They are found in Antarctica only. So these crab eater seals, they were stretching, they were relaxing themselves. As you may have seen the stray dogs, they stretch themselves now on the streets. So in the same manner, these seals, they were stretching themselves beautifully in order to relax themselves on the ice surface. And so that will do. So this is an example. There is a comparison also, so that the picture will be clear in front of your eyes. So that is like stray dogs that will do under the shade of a banyan tree. It was nothing short of a revelation. Now revelation means something that is revealed, so it's nothing short of revelation. Everything does indeed connect, means like everything what the author is explaining here, everything is connected with each other. It's not that something in imagination that the author is narrating. All the things, they are reality, they happened over there. So that is what she is telling. Everything is interconnected with each other, and everything is interrelated also. Now, once again, 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 bodies of water, and many ecospheres later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance and play on our planet. As in the beginning, also, you have studied the same lines. Like when she started her journey from Madras. Fine. And now it is called as Chennai. So she started her journey from Madras, and she had to cross 9 time zones that I already told you, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, many ecospheres also. And like after, when they were returning, after completing their journey, the author Tishani Doshi, she was wondering like how the nature balances itself. So much of beauty is there. The nature is fully loaded with the flora, fauna, so many beautiful pictures, but how that balance is maintained, that is something remarkable. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? Now, see, in the beginning, as I told you earlier also, like in the beginning, it was like a supercontinent. I told you the complete story. You all know. I told you the Gondwana supercontinent was there. Then, because of the Earth's activities, it started drifting and taking the shape of the globe that we can see in the present day. And so now, earlier, Antarctica was a very warm place, but it remained at its same place, that is in the poles. And so it is in the frigid zone. It is the coldest place. Otherwise, it would be a warm place. And will we be around to see it, or would we have gone the way of dinosaurs, mammoths, and woolly rhinos? And so, like, if it would be a warm place, obviously the conditions would be different. But now it's the same. It's a very cold place. So, like, will we be around to see it, or would we have gone the way of the dinosaurs? Like, for example, you have seen, you have heard, and you have seen the images, also pictures, also of dinosaurs were there, and mammoths. Mammoths, what are mammoths? Mammoths are actually the species of the elephants, and they have extinct also. They are not seen on the earth's surface. So mammoths are the species of the elephants. They are, obviously, elephant is a very large animal, that you know, and it has the tusk, but this species has already extinct from the earth's surface. And rhinos, that is dinosaurs, that you all know. So, like, otherwise the condition will be different. If such a thing would not be there, then we would have to experience a warm place, a driest place, fine. But now what is there? It is the coldest place. It is a beautiful place. But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years. What a difference a day makes. This is the beautiful line of this lesson. The author says that she spent, along with the students, she spent 2 weeks with a bunch of the teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world. Now, see, at this age, at your age, you people are full of, enthusiasm. You want that something, some changes must be done in the society for its betterment only. And as we have studied also, that the young generation, youth is always considered to be the, like, they are going to change the society. They will bring a change in the society. They are considered as, they will be, the candle holders, we can say. They'll change the society. So here he says that they have the, ideal ideas in their minds to save this world. They will apply the things like what may happen, what could be the circumstances if global warming will be increased, if this ozone layer will deplete, and something wrong will happen, obviously. So then its effect will be disastrous. So we have to be alert, and this could be done very easily by the younger generation to save the world. And all I can say is that a lot can happen in a million years, but what a difference a day makes. Like, for example, many people always say, and you may have heard also, like, how can this be possible? It's not possible to complete this whole task in one day. At least 1 week is required. It's not possible to complete in one day. But that is why, because these people are searching for the excuses. Though what I am saying, though sometimes I would also have said, I'm not saying this thing, but the point is that we all say this thing. Like, it's not possible to complete the task in one day. This is something very practical, very real also. But the author points to say that if we'll do something on one day, then that will slowly and slowly count, and that will collect itself to a large thing. Fine. So what we are planning to do in million years, that could be possible if we'll start from first day. If on one day we'll do something, and in this manner, slowly and slowly, it will collect itself, and it will become something large, and that is going to save our Earth's surface, right? So now we have reached to the end of this lesson. I have given you the complete explanation of this lesson, and let us discuss the questions also. Yesterday also I told you the important question. First one I have discussed. Second one is, what are Geoff Green's reasons for including high school students in the Students on Ice expedition? So I have already given you the explanation, so I want any of you should answer. So you can raise your hand to answer this question. So who is going to answer? Why he decided, Geoff Green, he decided to take the students from the school. Yes, Aditya?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, after analyzing the trips after the rich and the curiosity seekers, ma'am, Geoff Green realized that they have lost the age from where they can act and absorb more and more information and get really inspired and do something for the nature. So he decided to take high school students for the Students on Ice expenditure because it's the age to absorb more and more information and like to act, and when they absorb all the things, and they will readily do something for the nature to protect it and conserve it for the future generation.
Right, very good, perfect answer. Correct. So he like in this answer, what you are supposed to write, and I believe that you must have learned also in this class only. Like Geoff Green, he had the idea. He had taken the curiosity seekers, rich people, celebrities also, but it was of no use because they did not do. They did not return back to the nature, to the people, what is to be done. But these people, the young generation, they returned back to the society. Whatever information they got, whatever knowledge, learning, skills they got after their trip to Antarctica, they returned back, they discussed with people, and they tried to bring changes in the society. Very good. Now, next is also a very, very important question. As I have told you many times earlier, again, I'm telling you, if you will complete, if you will learn, memorize all the textual questions, like your complete syllabus is done. Because see, the questions will be molded from these chapters only, from these questions only. And the important thing is that the basic, that is the learning. Those students who are missing these classes, I'm telling you, they are going to suffer a huge loss. Because see, through these classes, at least you are able to understand the things. Sitting at home, it is such a relaxing thing. You people are, getting a chance. And by sitting at your homes in a relaxed condition, simply you have to listen. No need to switch on your videos also, as some of the students are not doing. So no need, there is no need. I want to see the faces, because it's been a long gap, that is why. Otherwise, you can switch off your videos, you can simply listen. That is going to help you out. So now this also we have discussed. Third question: take care of these small things, and the big things will automatically fall into place. Obviously, here you have to narrate that parable. Parable, I told you the story. In this question, what you will be writing? Can anyone answer? Fine. Why should I answer? Because I've already discussed. Yes, Aditya is only the one who will be answering. I want other students also to answer me. Who will answer? Okay, fine. Let me pick up any student. Fine. Okay. Naman Bansal. Naman.
No, ma'am.
Yes, Naman.
No, ma'am.
Why not? Why not? First, tell me, Naman.
Ma'am, not read the chapter.
Yesterday you were there, and take care of the small things, and the big things will take care of themselves. In this, what is to be written? Like here, you have to narrate the parable of phytoplanktons. Like phytoplanktons, they are very small organisms, plants and animals. They are responsible for the food of the marine animals of Antarctica, very large organisms. And see, like if ozone layer will continue depleting, like if ozone layer will deplete, then what will happen? Like these phytoplanktons, their life will also be in danger. And if phytoplanktons will not be there, then automatically they are going to affect the lives of the marine animals, and the universal carbon cycle or the complete food chain of the earth will be affected. So that is why we are supposed to take care of the small things like the phytoplankton, so that the big things like the big animals, they will remain in their place. They should they should remain healthy. For example, penguins, as I've shown you the pictures, they look so beautiful, they look so very beautiful. They are the part of the nature. So these things are to be taken care of. So this you have to write in this answer. Now the next question, question number 4. This question is also very important. I told you, like, these are the important questions that you are supposed to do. So the question is, why is Antarctica the place to go to understand the earth's present, past and future? Who will answer? Why Antarctica is the best place to answer? Okay, this time I can see more hands. Harsh, Karan and Kunal. Kunal is answering. Very good, Kunal.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Very good.
Ma'am, because ma'am, Antarctica gives us an idea how the Earth would have been like million years ago, and how it was divided into various parts. And ma'am, this only.
No, this is not the complete answer. Okay. Who else? Harsh, Aditya, Ananya, and who will answer? Okay, Harsh, Karan. Harsh, Karan.
Ma'am, Antarctica is the best place to understand the Earth's present, past, and future because, ma'am, Antarctica, in this story, it was given that 650 million years ago, Gondwana land was separated and Antarctica was formed. And different the carbon particles are also available that show how Antarctica are. Similarly, in the present,
Harsh,
some
Harsh,
of the
sorry
conditions of the
Harsh, sorry to interrupt you. Please switch on your
hello,
video
ma'am.
now. Harsh, please switch on your video.
To be happen in future, that is also present.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I'm listening. Yes, I'm listening. Yes, continue. Harsh. Okay, fine, leave it. Ma'am, please mute Harsh Karan. Okay, yes, Aditya, you answer.
Ma'am, as we know that Antarctica is the only place left in the earth which is basically a pristine place, so we can actually get an idea from where the earth originally started from. So that was the past region. Ma'am, present we can get to know because now also still there is no habitat of humans, so we can go for the present. And if there and if due to our some changes like human activities, small phytoplanktons, such type of organisms also affect, so we can get or we can predict or forecast the like future also from this. Like if we deforest, so automatically ozone depletion will take place, and which will directly affect the activity rate of phytoplankton, and resultant that the future will be that no there will be fight for more resources, and there will be extinction of many species. So from Antarctica is the only pristine place from where we can find the past, present, and future of our earth.
Okay, good answer. But here, one thing that you have to mention here, like it is a pristine place. Obviously, that is correct. Pristine means unspoiled. It is a clean place. But here, it is the place to understand the Earth's present, past, and future. Like present, past, and future. Like for the past, you have to just mention like 650 million years ago, what was Antarctica. So here in this answer, you have to start from here. Like 650 million years ago, this you have to mention. 650 million years ago, what was there? There was a Gondwana, that was a supercontinent because of the activities. It has taken the same shape that we can see now, and Antarctica remained at its place. Fine, it did not shift, and earlier it was a warmer place, windiest, driest place, but later on it remained at the pole, so it was a coldest place. Fine. And now if we talk about the present, so present is according to the author, as this lesson was written many years before, right? So like when the author, she wrote this lesson, so she's talking about that time, like during those days when she visited this place, it was a pristine place, it was untouched, unspoiled by human activities, because it was a difficult journey, it's not easy to reach to this place, so it was unspoiled. And it was like full of flora and fauna. So it's the ice sheets were also in large number because human activities had not spoiled. And moreover, if we talk about the future, so in future means like the present day, what we are doing, we have caused pollution, we have caused destruction to the nature. As we can see, the present day, floods are there, earthquakes are there, pollution is there, carbon compounds are there. So what is happening? Global warming is there, right? And then ozone layer is also depleting. So if such thing will continue, then what will happen? The ice sheets at Antarctica, they will also start melting, and the result will be obviously disastrous. Clear? So in this, you have to mention that it is the place where we can study the Earth's present, past, and the future. This is the best place, right? So we have discussed the 4 very important questions. I want, though you are already given the modules related to this lesson, the exercise is already given. Is it given now? So like you will be completing the answers. If you will do the answers today itself, it is fresh in your mind. The content is fresh in your mind. So you can keep it and you'll be able to write the answers beautifully. If you leave this task today, then obviously it will be difficult to have those ideas which you have today. Ma'am, we have completed this.